officially live. Good
Hey,
afternoon, everyone. So
hey.
pumped this afternoon to be chatting with my friend Jermaine. And as you know, every couple of weeks I try to share my incredible network of fellow entrepreneurs, fellow creatives who are just really doing some pretty powerful stuff in their respective spaces. So today I have Jermaine with me, and Jermaine and I kind of go back, like we kind of go back. And Jermaine's been doing some really cool things where it led us to have some more conversation. I thought he'd be amazing to bring on and for us to learn a little bit more of his creative and entrepreneurial experience. So, Jermaine, how are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed and highly favored. It's thanks for having me. This is a cool impromptu. Feels like I didn't. We were just talking, and then you're like, "Oh, you want to do a Facebook Live?" I'm like, "All right, that's cool." Because I've been seeing more recent on my Facebook, just all the work that you're doing with French Tutor, but also how you're coaching other businesses, and you're really just
Yeah.
doing your thing. So I'm like, okay, okay, like I want to support.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And Jermaine, I would love for you kind of just to give everyone a little bit more insight into what you do and kind of what you're all about.
Okay, okay. Well, my business name, like the registered business name is jermainehenry.ca. And I say the CA stands for Change Agency.
Love
Um,
it.
because I'm a change agent in different aspects. So if I'm gonna label myself, I'm a creative, I'm a poet, a hip hop artist, spoken word, and also like creating movements or creating groups, just like creativity is really central to what I do and as well as a facilitator, a workshop facilitator, but as well as like an MC, like I facilitate different events, retreats, workshops, like it's just facilitation, facilitate group meetings, whatever it is of like helping to get people towards guiding them towards a goal or in a process. That's
Yeah.
facilitation. And then as well as a mental health advocate, mental wellness is really important to me. So I actually use creativity and facilitation and everything I do, just sprinkle that awareness around how important it is for us to take care of our mental health, not just our physical, but it's all something that impacts our lives and the lives of others that we hold dear to, you know?
Yeah, and that's really like you are probably like I always say, creatives, I don't think any of us really in the human experience were placed here to do and be just one thing. And I think
Ah,
I kind of celebrate that you can list off all these different things that outside looking in, someone might go, oh my gosh, how does he do all of that? But me, I'm like, yeah, you do that, right?
yeah,
Like
I
I
love that.
really resonate with that. And through your facilitation, that's pretty, like, that's a big word. But how would you say you kind of came to be in those type of positions and obviously facilitating different types of things, which makes you the entrepreneur in and of itself, moving around? How did that come to be?
Interesting. Kind of our background of even how we know each other through like church and just like different whether it's helping to facilitate like a youth program or a youth workshop. So those were like those are like early days when I saw some of those skills of like, oh wait, I brought together some people, I helped them guide in conversation, and it was very rich, right? And I felt natural to that. And then even when I went to university and I was at like Andrews University, how so I all throughout my life I've struggled with like literacy. Like reading and writing is something that I've kind of like struggled with.
Okay.
So when I went to Andrews, at first I was doing theology, but then I switched to psychology. And I was doing
That.
psychology.
Okay.
Yeah, so I shift. Yeah, actually pretty quickly I did. But the funny thing is the way that I got through like exams and schoolwork was I facilitated study group sessions. So like
Oh
I would
my
get the study
goodness.
group guide and then I would
Wow.
get people together and that's how what helped me learn. So in those moments and then and starting to go to different camps, like my first job out of school was Youth Treatment Center and I was working in a group home working with young people with mental illness and we went and we used to go to our summer camp. And So it was just in all these areas where I saw, I was like, oh, this is pretty something natural that I do. They also had me when I had that job, they saw something in me. We used to have this staff development sessions where we'd have the director, and then this time the clinical director came on as well, and we'd have a conversation, what's going on in the house, what's going on. And I'd be someone that'd be pretty like vocal and kind of vulnerable about what I observed, not only with the youth, but as well as on the staff team. And they ended up sending me to do some dialectical behavioral therapy training. And that's where I I did some training in that, and then they asked me to facilitate the spiritual module. And it was on these skills, improve the moment. And improve is an acronym, imagery, prayer, relaxation, meaning, one thing in the moment, vacation, and encouragement. And I
Okay.
took that and I brought it to the young people in a different way because we've been doing these sessions, trying to facilitate these coping skills sessions. And mind you, there's young people that dealing with schizophrenia, with opposition disorder, like just a lot of different things that they were like not about the clinical stuff. So what
Yeah.
I did was I turned it into, okay, like this is how actually artists and creatives use these very skills. So like you see Eminem, you see Billy Talent, like these people that you admire, they're actually embodying these skills. So I use creativity and facilitating using creativity in that facilitation. So these are all just indicators for me is like, okay, facilitation is something that I have a gift at, but as well as
Yeah.
I offer value. And then I just continue to do that in different arenas, just continue to facilitate from frontline to board. Just yeah, that's kind of what I do.
That's a really cool, thank you for sharing that. That's a really cool journey. And it it gives me actually deeper perspective into you, like a whole lot more. And I kind of see it's sometimes these pieces or experiences that felt natural or
Mhm.
that were thrown into and you realize, wow, I'm pretty good at it. I'm actually gifted at it, if we can say that as well. And that leads you often into a path and a journey that you wouldn't have perhaps thought of yourself if not thrown in. So, what would you say then? Like, what would you consider a defining moment in your journey, in your entrepreneurial journey or like discovery journey that really changed the way you began to think, either about your business, either about your path?
Yes, it was actually I was doing some continuing some education and I saw this group called School for Social Entrepreneurs Ontario. And I don't think at that time I really looked at social entrepreneurship. Like you hear about entrepreneurship and that's like
Yeah,
a whole thing.
yeah,
But looking at myself as a facilitator, as a creative, as someone that's in the mental health space and facilitating in this space, I was really like, oh, I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm
that's
not
so
necessarily
good. That's
an
so, so
entrepreneur,
good.
right? It's like it's not that I am profit isn't my bottom line. Like that's not what
Yeah,
I'm focused on,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then I kind of like took it further because I'm a creative and me and one of my business partners at the time, JV, God rest his soul, is we're social entrepreneurs. So there's that added element is like, okay, they're social because I'm looking at like mental health and just like promoting freedom, love, and equity and just in society on the
Sure.
planet. But then there's the art aspect of creativity, whether it's spoken word, poetry, just being creative. And then there's the business more side. So now when I look at business and I'm looking at myself as a business, I'm like, oh, I'm a social entrepreneur. So that means how I approach it, it may not be always about where's the bottom line, what's the income that I'm making off this thing. It's also my values of like what kind of impact am I making and leaving.
Yes. Yes. And that I think is important for people to hear, especially younger people or even people in our millennial, older, whenever entrepreneurship sparks for people, because it's not always at an age. But for me,
Mhm.
it's important that people see there's different ways and different lenses. Are there lenses? Am I the literacy girl? there's different ways of looking at entrepreneurship, and it isn't always profit oriented. It could be, where do I find the most joy? What do I love doing and feel the best at all the time? Well, that's what I'm going to pursue, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, you want to make a living, you want to have a
For
sustainable
sure.
way of operating in the world. But I love that you said not everyone has a profit focused. It could be what your impact, like what legacy are you really trying to meet to make? And that seems to be what's driving you.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels very purpose driven, because it's like entrepreneurship is not necessarily a easy road. And then particularly social entrepreneurship. And then when we go to social entrepreneurship, it's like
Yeah,
not particularly easy or anything, but the yeah, the meaning, the purpose, the idea that this is a calling, right? Is something that helps me to
sure,
to keep going in a way. Yeah.
sure thing. Okay. And we can't help but notice hip hop healing, boom, in your background. So tell me a little bit about hip hop healing. Two powerful, let's say, movements, two
Mm.
powerful words in themselves. How do you combine the two, and what is hip hop healing all about?
Wow. Yeah. Again, it's this combination of, and it's funny if you look at hip hop healing, it's actually what I do when it comes to like creativity, facilitation, and mental advocacy. It's like all kind of in one in there. And hip hop healing, I describe hip hop healing as a mindset and a movement, right? And how it comes together, I've been having fun explaining this part actually. Just the name, right? It's all in the name. Because
Hmm.
hip is intelligence or awareness, is when you're hip
Yeah,
to something, you're aware of something, you're intelligent. Hop is motion or movement, right? We're moving. And then healing is this recovery to wholeness, right? It's this recovery. So hip hop healing is this idea of an intelligent movement towards wholeness. And with hip hop healing, it's not hip hop and just like music. A lot of times people just look at the genre. Like it's
yeah,
not more
yeah.
than I wish I should probably find it. There's a quote that I wrote that it's like hip hop is more than a genre, but then also healing is more than just therapy, medication, and meditation, right? And it's this idea that hip hop is a culture that has different elements. And through these different elements, whether it's emceeing, DJing, beatboxing, breaking, graffiti, or street knowledge, street entrepreneurship, what's the other one? Street language. There's just different elements in this culture. We can use this culture, these elements as mediums towards our own recovery, our own healing, our own wholeness, right? For our mental well-being, but as well as our physical. So KRS-One, he writes about and has coined this term of H law. And H law is health, love, awareness, wealth. So the
Okay.
mission in hip hop healing is to drive us towards health, love, awareness, and wealth in our society. So I'm passionate about it. Particularly, it's supportive for thinking about Black communities specifically, and of
Yeah,
course, all communities, but just starting at like, what's a culturally responsive and relevant way we can reach young people towards
sure.
their mental well-being and whatnot. So hip hop healing is that, um, yeah, is the movement to be able to do that.
That's brilliant, Terrain. It's good stuff. It's good
Thank
stuff. Okay. And when you can always, tell someone's connection to what they do, I'm feeling it like
you.
all over like, everything that you're saying. And how do you then stay connected to your why on days when things aren't going how you need them to go? How do you kind of center yourself? Obviously, people always think people that are mental health advocates may not struggle. Like they've perfected the thing. So how do you stay connected to your why on those not so great days?
It's funny. I remember you just reminded me. I remember being in a behavioral sciences meeting when I was at school, and one of my professors saying like, and kind of joking around, is like, we all go into this field because we actually struggle with our mental health in a way, right? So yeah, I would say, and even for me, like, reason why I'm a lot very passionate about it is for my own mental health journey and then and close people around me. Yeah, what connects me to the why, what keeps me to the why, or what keeps me grounded and multiple is the why I would say I think about my family and friends and loved ones. Like I think about the real people that like this is a reality for, or even people that I don't necessarily aren't my family or friends, but people I've encountered and how
Yeah.
important mental health is and how impactful it can be, right? People can lose their lives off of that. And not just physically, but as well as like their jobs, their relationships, like it's a real impactful thing.
Yes.
Um, but then as well as I have these like warm and fuzzies. So from some other workshops, some retreats and different things, I've had people write notes, like just positive notes about myself or my work and that type of thing. So sometimes I'll review those. I'm like, just remember like the impact that you've made
I
and
love
what
that.
people are saying.
Yeah,
And then as well as like prayer, meditation, poetry, and music. Those are the things that help me to be grounded and yeah, those are the main things that help me grounded. And then of course like just loved ones and people when I get to that place.
sure. That's really impactful that you share that because sometimes we are kind of looking for the why very far out, and it's sometimes just right in front of us, right beside us, right beneath us, around us. So that's really special that you have loved ones that can remain your why for sure.
Mm.
Okay. So as we're winding down a bit, I want to understand how as you have gone through this journey, as your facilitation and your advocacy experiences have grown, how has that contributed to your personal growth? Sometimes there is that, I know social entrepreneurship can probably have you in a lot of the doing. How would you say you have felt that impact you personally and your growth in that regard?
Mm. Um, I have to grow personally in order to sustain, in order to do this, in order to like answer the calling, in order to honor God's gifts. It really takes me having to take care of myself and work on myself. Like, I'm a wreck in a sense, like for myself, like I'm not perfect. I really think I'm trying to figure this all out all the time. And I have I have my episodes, but it's like really this is the work. Like the personal growth, the personal development
Yeah.
is the work. And that's the challenge that I've kind of had in my work is that where's the fine line between personal and professional? Because my work, to be honest, it is that is actually it.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
my personal is compromised, if I'm not growing personally, then my business isn't gonna go forward. It's just not gonna grow, right? So that's kind of how it's kind of mirrored. It's kind of had to, it's kept me accountable to my own personal development. It's kept me accountable. And and even when I've worked like full-time jobs, like I've not felt as good as when I'm even struggling in my business. It's like it's
Right.
a wild thing. Like
It is. Yeah, I can relate.
it's a
Yes.
wild thing, but yeah. So that's how I'd say it's mirrored or reflected my personal growth.
Very cool. Okay, and what's one message you would want to leave with anyone who happens to come across this? I don't believe in the luck of things. I think everything
Mhm.
is orchestrated, and someone's going to watch this and go, "Whoa, never heard this perspective before. Whoa, this feels like something
Mhm.
that my inner said or thought and never said out loud." What would you offer for someone right now who's currently just on a bit of a journey? Maybe there are some healing or areas of healing that they need to experience while they are doing the business thing. They still want to make sure that the mental thing is staying in check. What would you offer to those people, to us people?
Yeah, to us people, to all of us.
Yeah.
I would offer grace. I think grace is it's God given, but it's also as humans we can give it to ourselves, and each other. And I think grace because um everything, like you said, everything happens for a reason. So the struggles, the challenges, when you're down and out, the ups, like it all happens for a reason and it's all a part of the journey. And just really just remembering that it's about the journey and the process in it. And yeah, have some grace for yourself and always look for to be grounded in your purpose and in alignment. Like that's what means more than the outcomes and the results, but it's first in your purpose, in your
Mhm.
alignment to your purpose, that value, that's the most valuable thing that you can have. And that breeds other results and value and all those kind of things. But it really starts within.
Right on. And that I think is the perfect place for us to wrap. Jermaine, let everyone know where they can connect with you and find you if they're looking to reach out. I will add your link and anything you want me to add below this chat, but let everyone know out loud.
Blessings. All right, peace and love, y'all. You can find me at jermainehenry.ca on everything. So my website is jermainehenry.ca, JermaineHenry.ca, on LinkedIn, on social media, and then yeah, just holler at me. You can email me if you want to email me, heyo at jermainehenry.ca. And then if you want to learn more about hip hop healing, you can go on Instagram. We're at hip hop, hip hop dot healing. And that's it. Hip hop dot healing. And yeah, I've really appreciated it, at least. Like this has been really, yeah, really fun. This was fun. It was insightful. It's always insightful, even answering questions, but also just having a conversation with you. Your energy is like immaculate. So I really appreciate it. And you're doing incredible work and you're really leaving a beautiful legacy.
Thank you, Jermaine. I received that. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Enough. Peace.